I just have a couple more here. This has been awesome. If I were to put you in charge, help the American audience understand, if you were in charge of the UK's military tomorrow, Lindsay Bruce comes in, he's now running the UK military. What would be the first thing that you would immediately try to improve on?
Well, that's a big question. What would I improve on? I would say that I would increase the budget for a start. If are you talking about just the UK military or the military as a whole, as in US, UK? I can
No,
only
no, no.
speak for
The UK. Like if you were in charge of the
I would make,
UK's
I would make
military.
sure there was more support. I would definitely make not just for active service, but veterans as more support for veterans actively when they get out there. Because a lot of the time, you walk out that gate and it's like, cheers for the service, but see you later. I think there should be more attention placed upon transition, especially for those who have served over a certain period of time, or those who have been in certain combat operations in a short period of time. Um, I would say that the welfare, the follow on, and the transition of military personnel going into the civilian street. I think that's something that could be supported and backed a lot more. It could be invested in a lot more, helping people adjust to civilian street and the diversities and the contrasted nature of it. I would definitely increase the budget. From fucking hell. I would stop putting so much money towards housing those that come from overseas, asylum seekers, and I would say that more money towards the forces in general, the budget for the forces, because it's always been shocking, it's always been terrible. You only have to look back at like when the British military were deploying to Afghanistan back in the sort of 2010s. There was horrific images of like military non-armored Land Rovers with fucking uh, body armor plates from a chest rig, sort of attached to the side of Land Rovers because they couldn't afford armored vehicles. They didn't have the budget to buy armored vehicles. It's fucking shocking. So the budget's always been terrible for the British military. So the budget would be improved. The welfare system would be improved for sure, and that of the transition of people leaving the military going into civilian street, a better crossover package, definitely.
I think that's a great answer. I've never heard that they were using like plates from a chest carrier to
Yeah.
that's I
I
wouldn't feel
remember
very
though,
safe.
I remember back in the infantry, this is like fucking seems bizarre. I remember back in the infantry, we would get we used to call it diffies and exchanges. So diffies being deficient. So if you were deficient in a piece of kit or you had to exchange something that was worn out, you would go up to the quartermaster's building, and it would happen every so often. Okay, guys, there's diffies and exchanges happening. So be there at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Take what you need to exchange and report what you need to be replacing for deficiencies. And sometimes you'd be charged for something if you lost it or not. And you go up there, you'd be lining up in your platoon, and the platoon sergeant would say, right, we've got X amount of fucking pairs of combat trousers, and we've got 2 pairs of gloves. And it was just like there was so much shortage of everything. You couldn't just go, yeah, I need some more of these and get it. It'd be like, right, I've got X amount of fucking combat jackets, combat trousers, X amount of pairs of boots. If you didn't have enough or in your size, you didn't get it. So you'd have to just keep going with what you had. There was never a guarantee you would get the kit that you needed. Thankfully, going to the special forces, that wasn't so much of an issue. There was a better budget. You get the kit that you need pretty much anytime you want, really. But it took getting to the special forces, the top tier of the British Army, to make that happen. And even still, the equipment we had wasn't the best either. We still had very old kit for a long, long time. Fucking hell, 2003, the Iraq War. We went over the border in Pink Panther Land Rovers. They were old as shit, breaking down all the time. We had to take. We were the first operational Sabre squadron to ever take a REME mechanic, which is the Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers, the corps that's in the military that looks after all that sort of logistics, or the mechanical side of things. We took a mechanic with us who ended up becoming like a legend in his own life, because he was attached to a Sabre squadron operationally because the vehicles were that old that we needed a mechanic with us because they were fucking breaking down all the time. And that was the SAS in 2003. Fucking hell, that was because of budget. Thankfully those vehicles were replaced in due course. But when you look at the magnitude of how bad that is, apparently like the best special forces unit in the world are deploying operationally to war with vehicles that are like fucking 50 years old.
Is it true that one of the things foreign militaries get a little surprised by the U.S. is like everyone having night vision in a war zone as an American soldier is pretty common. It's certainly 100% common if you're in the Rangers or Delta, SEAL Team 6. Like they all get night vision. But that's not the case in most militaries. Is that correct? Like getting night vision is not like considered normal. It's a luxury, right?
In the when I was in anyway in the infantry, you did get a night sight on your weapon, but certainly didn't get night vision goggles. Um, Special forces, not everyone get night vision goggles until maybe a bit later on. I would say certain operations you would get, everyone would have night vision goggles eventually. But when I first joined, no, it wasn't like something that you get issued. There'd be a couple of pairs in a patrol, whatever. But it was like you get them when you need them, but you don't have your own pair.
That's interesting. That's fascinating to me. I've
Yeah, maybe different now.
Yeah, and I don't know. I know that even in '03 or I'm sorry, '01 when the US went into Afghanistan, they were bringing support elements with them and all those guys had night visions. They had like it was either the old dual tubes or there's one where it's one tube and there's like two eyes, but it
Yeah.
comes out of one, like the real old shit. Um, One thing Melvin Downs told me that really shocked him, budget wise difference. He came to America to do some training, and he said he couldn't believe the food portions that the soldiers were served on base. He said they went to one base, I think it was in Washington, and they're putting steaks and eggs on plates, and they're just getting second and
Yeah.
third helpings. It was just like there was no end. And he was like, that's not how you get served at a UK military base. It's not an all you can eat steak and
No,
burger
no.
buffet.
Yeah, I mean, I watched a physical assault happening in the past with a chef that was the famous quote or the infamous quote that was always used in the British Army when it come to the hot plate was that one of the chefs would be like one choice. Yeah, that'd be the thing. So we had a chef in Northern Ireland when we were deployed over there. We actually nicknamed him One Choice. His nickname was One Choice because that's all he used to fucking say. And you'd be coming in off patrol starving, and you got to take two things that you liked, and you'd be like, one choice. And you'd be like, mate, you're gonna get your fucking head put in the beans in a minute. Just yeah, there was always limitations in that sense. So Mel's absolutely right in what he's saying. It was never like an all-you-can-eat basis. But at the same time, like I remember when we were in Iraq, like with the squadron, when we were based there in the permanent building we had, uh, the food was fucking unbelievable. Like that was British Army. We had our own chef, like British Army chef, and he really looked after us. Like the food was unbelievable. It was like we ate like kings actually.
That's awesome. So they would just what? They'd fly the food in from elsewhere and then he'd
Yeah,
cook it all there.
yeah. We had our own chef for the squadron, yeah, and he was brilliant as well.
That's awesome. You love hearing. That's kind of the cool little stuff that you never see in the
Yeah,
movies or whatever. That's
yeah.
pretty.
Like the unsung heroes sometimes,
Yeah.
that you wouldn't expect. Yeah.
I got two left for you here.